All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we are going to dive into the absolute best, lore-first way to understand the genuinely chilling story of Resident Evil 7. Now, usually when people look at this narrative, they experience it entirely through the confused, frankly, terrifying perspective of the main character. But to truly appreciate the depth of this horror, we're going to reconstruct it from the ground up. We're going to look at the hidden lore that was secretly pulling the strings the entire time. Okay, let's just dive right into the mystery with this desperate, super cryptic warning from a supposedly dead wife to her husband. I mean, imagine receiving this message from someone you thought you lost years ago. It's a chilling plea, sent from the heart of a mosquito-infested swamp, and it's explicitly telling our protagonist, Ethan, not to come looking for her. But, well, human nature being what it is, he goes anyway. So that brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? What dark secret was actually hiding in the Louisiana bayou? To figure out what Ethan Winters was literally walking into, we have to rewind the clock a bit. We need to look at the true origins of the nightmare way before he ever stepped foot on the Baker estate. Because, as you'll see, the monster waiting for him wasn't born in a swamp. It was engineered in a lab. Chapter 1. The Origins of the Mold. To really understand the lore here, we actually have to start with a shadowy syndicate known as the Connections. So they collaborated with HCF, which is a special operations rival to the infamous Umbrella Corporation. And together, they wanted to create a bioweapon that acts like a Trojan horse on the battlefield. They didn't want a mindless monster that just destroyed everything in sight. No, they wanted a microscopic weapon, this black fungal substance they dubbed mold. And the goal? To infect, assimilate, and completely control enemy combatants without firing a single bullet. Look at how insanely fast this infection progresses. Victims go from instantly healing severed limbs in just a matter of minutes to experiencing violent hallucinations and heightened strength within a few hours. And then, finally, after just a few days, boom, complete loss of mental control. Their minds weaken entirely to the will of a master E-type bioweapon, and their bodies actually begin to mutate into these horrific, mindless walking masses of black fungal cells. It is, quite literally, a total hijacking of the human body and mind. Chapter 2. Disaster Aboard the Annabelle. Here's the wild part. The master bioweapon controlling all of this mold, it wasn't some giant, hulking monster. It was actually the 5th iteration of an E-series weapon, named Evelyn, and she was specifically designed to look exactly like a harmless 10-year-old child. I mean, the logic here is as brilliant as it is evil, right? A seemingly innocent child can easily infiltrate war zones or enemy front lines without raising any alarms at all. Once she's inside, she just introduces the mold to the environment and can take over an entire colony in a matter of days. But of course, other groups, like Blue Umbrella, caught wind of Evelyn. So to avoid capture, the Connections had to move her secretly from North to Central America. She was escorted by 2 top agents posing as her parents. And one of those agents? That was Mia Winters. Her husband, Ethan, was completely clueless about her double life. He fully believed she worked a normal, totally boring job for a trade company. He had absolutely no idea she was a covert operative smuggling a living weapon of mass destruction. Chapter 3. The Baker Family Tragedy. So, they're at sea, a violent storm hits, and Evelyn's bioprogramming basically destabilizes. She rebels, violently lashes out, and crashes the ship right into the swamps of Dolby, Louisiana. There, the wreckage gets discovered by the unsuspecting, kind-hearted Baker family. Now, because Evelyn was designed as a child, she deeply, deeply craved a family. So what does she do? She forces her gift upon her rescuers. She infects the Bakers, twisting Jack into this regenerating stalker, turning Marguerite into a literal hive mind for aggressive swamp insects, and amplifying Lucas's already sadistic nature into a total madman who traps victims in deadly games. They essentially became superhuman, murderous puppets. They'd lure innocent people, like the crew of that paranormal TV show, Sewer Gators, to their deaths just to expand Evelyn's family. Only the daughter, Zoe, managed to secretly resist the mind control, hiding out in a trailer and desperately plotting her escape. Amidst all the pure horror of the Baker estate, we get this truly heartbreaking lucid vision from Jack Baker after he's momentarily defeated. This quote right here is absolutely pivotal. It reminds us that the terrifying villains hunting you through the halls of this game, they're actually tragic victims of Evelyn's mind control themselves. They were literally just good people who tried to help victims of a shipwreck, only to have their minds entirely stolen from them. Chapter 4. Ethan enters the nightmare. 3. That number is really significant here. It had been exactly 3 years since the shipwreck of the Annabelle when Ethan Winters received that email we saw at the very beginning of this explainer, the one supposedly from his dead wife. So he rushes to Louisiana, completely unaware that he's walking directly into a trap. Evelyn, still obsessively trying to complete her twisted family unit, has lured Ethan there specifically to force him to become her new father figure. Chapter 5: The True Face of Evelyn. So Ethan arrives at this rotting ranch, and he just has to survive a series of relentless horrors, constantly battling his way through the corrupted family members. But with the covert help of the rebellious daughter, Zoe, Ethan learns he can actually cure the infection. But to do it, he has to use older bioweapon prototypes. He goes around gathering the mummified arm and head of D-series specimens, these infants named Dolores and Dahlia that also washed ashore from the wreck. By splicing these remnants together, Ethan crafts a powerful serum that calcifies and destroys the mold. He uses it to save his wife, Mia, but he quickly realizes that to truly escape, he has to confront Evelyn once and for all. But hold on, as Ethan prepares for this final confrontation, we have to address a massive lingering question. Why does Ethan keep seeing phantom visions of an innocent 10-year-old girl running around the decaying estate? Okay, prepare yourself, because here is the absolute craziest twist. Throughout the entire ordeal, Evelyn has been telepathically projecting her appearance into the minds of Ethan and Mia as the young girl they remember from the ship. But because E-type weapons have a severe biological flaw, they age 25 times faster than normal humans, Evelyn's body had rapidly deteriorated over those past 3 years. So that incredibly creepy, totally mute grandma Ethan kept seeing sitting silently in the wheelchair? Yeah, that wasn't a Baker family member, that was literally Evelyn's true physical form all along.
Chapter 6: Umbrella Cleans Up.
Now that Ethan knows the horrifying truth, he's forced to make his final stand against the mutated elderly bioweapon. Armed with Mia's insider knowledge, Ethan descends into this hidden lab that the Connections built in an old salt mine right beneath the estate. He synthesizes a necrotoxin and violently injects it into Evelyn's frail body. But this just causes her to mutate into a massive building-sized fungal monstrosity. Just as Ethan is about to be consumed, a rescue chopper drops specialized ramrod rounds. These are rapid-acting middle toxic bullets, specifically designed to halt bioweapon regeneration. Ethan fires the rounds and Evelyn calcifies and crumbles right into dust. So, the dust finally settles, and the aftermath brings series veteran Chris Redfield onto the scene. He's working alongside a reformed Blue Umbrella and the BSAA to rescue Ethan and Mia. But you know the story doesn't quite end there, right? In the Not a Hero expansion, Chris hunts down the sadistic son Lucas, and it turns out Lucas was given a serum early on. He was faking his mind control the entire time. He was acting as a spy for the Connections before betraying them to sell the data himself. Meanwhile, in the end of Zoe's storyline, we see Zoe finally get rescued by her estranged, tough-as-nails Uncle Joe Baker, who, get this, literally punches out a resurrected, swamp-mutated Jack just to secure a final cure for his niece. But even though Ethan and Mia managed to escape the nightmare to try and rebuild their lives, Lucas Baker's final act leaves us with one absolutely terrifying thought. Right before Chris Redfield killed him in the salt mines, Lucas successfully transmitted all the E-series and mold research data to an unknown, shadowy client on the black market. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this. Who exactly has that data right now? And what incredible new nightmare are they already building in the shadows?